Their positions on the sideline below us. Cheerleaders from Ohio State leading their squad out in the field. And let me tell you, both of these teams emotionally are just as high as they can possibly get. There is a balloon, a gold and blue balloon that has been hovering over the gridiron. Now the Buckeyes are trying to tear down that banner that is out there for the Michigan team to run through. They were unable to get it down completely. And the N Club members who have been holding it out here, 15 or 20 of them, are going to get it back up.
You don't think that was on order from Woody Hayes, do you?
But it was.
Not much. He pointed right to the center of the field.
Here come the Wolverines. Led by perhaps a dozen of their acrobatic cheerleaders. They, of course, numerically have the biggest squad here today. On the sidelines, including the players, coaching staff, some 104. Ohio State has a total of 73, including, of course, the entire coaching staff. Now they come rolling across the gridiron under that blue Senate. And let me tell you, the frenzy of this Wolverine squad, I think, Lou, matches what we saw here in 1969 when Ohio State came in as a heavy favorite.
Yes, as they group around their coach, they're holding up the one finger, the index finger, to the sky, indicating that they are going to be number one.
Woody Hayes, in perhaps an inference as to how confident he feels about winning this game today, quoted as saying, the team that wins this afternoon should be rated number one in the nation. And, of course, his Buckeyes are a 4-point favorite. We have covered in our Big Ten series this fall both of these teams on 2 other games. And in those 2 games, in all honesty, Ohio State was the most impressive, or the more impressive of the 2. But what has happened in the past doesn't mean a thing here this afternoon when these 2 great rivals clash head-on. Michigan, it is expected, may resort to an aerial weapon more than Ohio State. Ohio State has attempted a total this year of 66 passes. That's about 7 a game. They've completed 29 and have 9 intercepted. But on the ground, they have been awesome, to say the least. 3,354 yards rushing for Ohio State. 474 passing. That gives you an excellent idea of how Ohio State moves the football. And the fellow who has been most successful of all at moving it is Archie Griffin, number 45, a sophomore tailback from Columbus, Ohio, 5'9", but 184 pounds. And Archie Griffin has amassed more than 100 yards rushing in each of the 9 Ohio State games this year. He has boosted his yardage gained on the ground to 1,265 in this his sophomore year. He has averaged 6.5 yards a carry, and those are tremendously impressive figures, Lou.
Yes, indeed, Vince. And when you take, for instance, that we may be watching 6 or 8 All-Americans on this football field today, you can anticipate what a hard-nosed football game this is going to be. You know, Ohio State with Griffin, Green, Elia, and going against the fine defensive unit of Michigan, and also then Michigan retaliating with Franklin, Shuttleworth, and Heater, you know that there's going to be some sparks flying on that football field.
That there will be. The Ohio State defense is led by 3 of the finest collegiate linebackers that any football team, any college football team has ever assembled. And those 3 linebackers, Randy Gradishar, just about everybody's All-American. He has been in on 109 tackles this year. Second on the Ohio State team to Gradishar, so that you'll understand how many tackles this guy's been in on 109, is Craig Middleton, another linebacker. He has been in on 76 tackles, 33 less than Gradishar. Rick Middleton, another linebacker, 222 pounds. Gradishar, 232, by the way. Both of those gentlemen are seniors. The other linebacker, Vic Cagle, 215 pounds. He is also a senior. That is the heart of the Ohio State defense. And offensively up front, the 5 interior linemen average 226 pounds, and they are led by, again, a gentleman who is everybody's All-American, John Hicks, the right tackle, 252 pounds, 6'3". Kurt Schumacher, the other tackle, a junior, 248. The running guard along with Hicks on the right side is Dick Mack, who's 215 pounds. And the other guard is Jim Kriegel, 236 pounds. He is a senior. And their line is anchored by center Steve Myers, a 251-pound junior. That, my friends, is size. That's one of the big reasons that Ohio State has been able to be so successful on the ground.
This is going to be interesting to see how Bo Schembechler defenses this great offensive line of Ohio State. Usually, when Griffin or Green need 2 or 3 yards, they follow Hicks.
That's right. He's the man. Now let's talk a little bit about this Ohio State offense. It is led by junior quarterback Dennis Franklin. Fine runner. He's averaged over 4 yards a carry. His passing, 518 percentage. We're called at 52%. He's hit on 29 out of 56 passes. 4 of them have been intercepted. He has thrown 3 touchdown passes. He's about 6'1", 180. And rushing-wise, Franklin has scored 5 touchdowns. In the backfield with him, 2 fine fullbacks. The starting fullback, Ed Shuttlesworth, has carried the ball 166 times this year. And get this, in 166 carries, Shuttlesworth has suffered the loss of exactly 1 yard. That's all. He has not reeled off any long gains, but he has averaged just under 4 yards a carry. He's 6'2", 225, a senior. His longest gain has been only 15 yards. Tailbacks, well, Will Chapman, number 24, has been out of action because of injuries, but he's expected to start today. And he's averaged over 5 yards a carry. If he does not start, it'll be Chuck Heater, a junior from Tiffin, Ohio, with 109 carries, has averaged 6 yards a carry. He is the leader on the Michigan team in total yardage with 654. Those are the fine running backs. And I should mention behind Shuttlesworth, fullback Bob Thornblad, another senior from Plymouth, Michigan, 6'2", 220. He has never suffered a loss in running the ball from scrimmage this year. Thornblad has carried 52 times. We have the co-captains out in the field now. The team captains for the year are Hare and Middleton for Ohio State. The game captains are Hicks and Gradishar. Ohio State has won the toss, and the Buckeyes have elected to receive. This is WGN Radio, Chicago. The interior lineman offensively for Michigan. The line is anchored by Dennis Franks, a center, a junior from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, 223. From Chicago at left guard, Mike Hoban, a senior from Chicago's Gordon Tech. Hoban, 6'2", 240. The other guard is Dave Metz from Harrison, Ohio, a junior, 6'2", 235. The tackle, the strong side tackle, Jim Coode, 6'4", 245 pounds, C-O-O-D-E. Coode, a senior from Mayfield, Ohio. And the other tackle is Curtis Tucker, a senior from Cleveland, Ohio. Tucker, 6'1", 240 pounds. So the scene is set for the showdown in the last of the several years. It seems as the showdown has come between these two teams. Offensively, Ohio State has only 4 seniors starting. Fred Buggage, a tight end, 212 pounds. Jim Kriegel, the left guard. Johnny Hicks, big tackle. And Dave Hazel, the split end. Those are the only seniors offensively starting for Ohio State. They have only 3 seniors starting defensively. Michigan has 6 seniors in the starting offensive squad and 5 seniors defensively. Paul Seal and Dave Gallagher, the co-captains for Michigan. And the Wolverines will be kicking off from the south goal. All set just inside the hash mark at the south end of Ann Arbor. Morris Gradishar, deep man from Edwardsville, Illinois, for Ohio State, standing at about the 6-yard line. On the far side is Tim Holycross, coming forward for the kickoff, and this game is underway. Mike Lantry boots one so deep it is out of the end zone. That is an auspicious start. Kick sailing way out of the end zone. It'll be 1st and 10 for Ohio State at the 20.
Vince, we mentioned these great football teams that are disciplined and well keyed up, but those officials on that gridiron have a great job to do. A lot of responsibility.
And a great crew here today, led by referee Gene Calhoun. Wide to the left side is Dave Hazel. To the right side comes Bash Nagel. High formation behind Cornelius Green. He did. And knocked down is Archie Griffin for a loss. Back at the 14-yard line. And Don Dufek, a sophomore, who grew up right here in Ann Arbor, came barreling through for Michigan, and Dupek sends Griffin back for a 6-yard loss on the first play. He tried that sweep to the right side. This time, Bashnagel to the left, the wide side of the field, and Hazel to the right side of the I formation. Elia, the fullback, behind Green, and the give goes again to Griffin. He tries over his own left guard and tackle, and he is spilled at the 16-yard line by middle linebacker Strinko. Steve Strinko from Middletown, Ohio. He leads this ball club in tackles with 124. 45 more than the outstanding tackle defensively, Dave Gallagher. 2 fine defensive plays by Michigan, and Ohio State now 3rd and 13. Bashnagel wide to the left and Hazel to the right side. Ely and Griffin, the running backs, with the tight end on the left. That's Pevich. He turns, he gives to Griffin, finds a bit of an opening, is up to the 21, maybe the 22-yard line, and Ohio State will be forced to punt with 4th down and about 8 yards to go. It is the middle linebacker, Steve Strinko, who comes in again to make the stop. Gil Chapin going deep, along with Dave Brown for Michigan. The punter is a freshman for Ohio State, Tom Spladany, and a good punter. His kicks are not exceptionally long. He has averaged 35.7 yards this year, but he gets them high. Makes a return difficult, and there is a very high kick. Dave Brown calls for a fair catch at the University of Michigan 47-yard line. The Wolverines have great field position. A 31-yard boot by Spladany, far less than his average for the year.
Well, Vince, all week, the experts have been saying Bo must put the ball in the air. If he's going to do that, right now he has great field position, opening up his first series of downs.
He has Dennis Franklin, the quarterback, and he's bringing in 2 tight ends, Paul Seal, co-captain, and Greg Denbar, a 223-pound junior from Kentwood, Michigan. And he sends a wingback, a split receiver to the right side. On the option, he pitches to Chapin. Chapin puts his head down. He picks up short yardage, trying to roll around left end. He almost fumbled that pitch out. He's hit by Parsons and by Gradishar. Steve Luke, the quarterback, also coming in. The hard-hitting junior. Steve Luke, 6'2", 196, number 46. Gradishar, number 53. Parsons, a very fine safety man, but he's been having some troubles with a shoulder injury. They send Hazelrig as a wide receiver to the right side. Both ends are in tight. I formation to give again to Chapman. Starts to the right side. He breaks it, but he fumbles. It is recovered by Ohio State at the 40-yard line, and Neil Colsey, the safety man, recovers the fumble. They had the opening. The game was down to the 40-yard to about the 44-yard line, but that ball popped out of his hand, and Ohio State has recovered the fumble. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. Michigan this year has been prone to fumbling more often than Ohio State. That is the 30th fumble this year by Michigan, and the 15th time they have lost possession of the ball because of a fumble. Luke?
Time out on the field, Vince, and this message from State Mutual of America is addressed to men who think they're too young to worry about retirement. Now, if you're 35 years old, you have just 360 months before you're 65. The longer you wait to start a retirement plan, the more it will cost you. We have several good idea retirement plans for people your age. They provide life insurance protection beginning now, and an assured retirement income you can't outlive. Want to talk about these good ideas? Why not? The sooner the better. Call the John R. Kalb Agency in Chicago. The number is 332-1404. At the Kalb Agency, you'll find professional financial security help and a lot of good ideas about ways to manage your money better. First fumble of the ball game, first turnover by Michigan. This is an indication of how hard these youngsters are really hitting on that gridiron.
Mike Bartosik is in as a split end, wide to the left side, wide receiver Boschnagel to the right. And the give goes to the fullback, Elia. Big fella plows over the 45 to the 46-yard line before he is hit by Dave Brown, the safety man for Michigan, a junior from Akron, Ohio. 95th carry this year. This young man is a former linebacker because of an injury to 2 fullbacks earlier this year, including Champ Henson. Bruce came in as a fullback, and he has scored 13 touchdowns, more than any other Buckeye. Wide receivers to both sides. Snap is fumbled by the quarterback, Green. He falls on it at the 45-yard line, recovering his own fumble. Cornelius Green, a sophomore from Washington, D.C., the quarterback. He has hit on about 37% of his passes this year, and he has had 6 of them intercepted. He has thrown 2 touchdown passes. He's a good ball carrier. Very, very quick feet. He sends his wide receivers, Bart Kosick, to the right side, Bashnagel to the left. He fakes the give to Wheelie. On the option, he keeps. He's to the 47, a hit. Struggles forward for another yard to about his own 48-yard line, and there Green is down by Don Coleman. Defensive right end, 217-pounder, and again Tom Skladany, the punter, is coming in for Ohio State. They have had the ball now for 2 series of plays and have not been able to get a first down. Skladany will get this boot away from about his 36. Dave Brown and Chapman are the deep men again for Michigan. Here's the boot by Skladany. A high kick. Brown, at his 19, has it. Good coverage, and he gets up to about the 21 or 22-yard line. Boudreau Roach down beautifully on coverage, sophomore from Washington. There's a 32-yard boot by Skladany, a 3-yard return by Brown, and Michigan, after fumble by Chapman, and they had good field position, this time find themselves back at their 22-yard line, 1st and 10. It is Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing. Keith Johnson is put in wide to the left side for the Wolverines with a wing back on the left. It's Hazelrig. Shuttlesworth and Heater. It is given to Heater, and he is hit behind the line of scrimmage, driven back. Tremendous rush that time by the Ohio State Buckeyes, and leading the surge was Vic Kogel along with Randy Gradishar. Vic Kegel, I'm sorry. Racing onto the field now is tailback Gustafson, and he is replacing Keith Johnson. Seal, the tight end, lines up on the left side. Wing back to the right side. And the turn to the running back. It is given to Shuttlesworth. Puts his arms over that football. Flashes over his own tackle. Across the 30. Shuttlesworth out to about the 32-yard line before he's brought down by the great middle linebacker, Randy Gradishar for Ohio State. It is 1st and 10, and that is the first down by either team this afternoon.
And Vince, once again, Michigan going right after the All-American linebacker Gradishar, as Shuttlesworth just carried him about 6 or 8 yards for that first down.
And if you don't go after him, Lou, Gradishar will go after you.
Yes, indeed. And they have Middleton back there to help them.
9:38 left in the first quarter. High formation for Michigan. And the give again goes to Shuttlesworth, the big fullback, finding an opening through that right side. They've got some kind of a weakness defensively on the left side, where Van de Cree is for Michigan. He is in on that tackle along with Gradishar. And the left tackle over on that side is Arnie Jones, a 233-pound junior, number 42. Big gain of 7 yards by Shuttlesworth. Holy Cross, or Johnson rather, wide to the right side, the short side of the field. And Franklin turns. Quarterback again, gives to Shuttlesworth. On a slant, big opening again to the left side. And Shuttlesworth pounding his way to the 45-yard line. He gets up and he gives a pat on the back. I believe it is to Mike Hoban, lineman, who came up there and led that attack.
Let me tell you, Vince, some fine blocking up front by that Michigan line, particularly the center Franks. He's backing that guard that's playing nose-to-nose against him back to about 3 yards.
Turn and the give to Heater. Heater plowing straight ahead on a quick opener is at the midfield stripe. And the Michigan ground game is asserting itself here on this series of downs. He gets it across the 50. That time, a beautiful block made by tackle Curtis Tucker, number 78, a 240-pound senior. Johnson is split wide to the right side. Neither team has gone to the air yet. They are both using, Michigan is using 2 tight ends with a balanced line. He gives to Heater. This time he is hit behind the line of scrimmage by Pete Cusick, a 252-pound tackle who came barreling in, and Chuck Heater is thrown for a loss. Back on the Michigan side of the 50-yard line, it is going to be 3rd down and 5.
That's the first time that the defensive line came off of that ball as quickly as we've seen them in the past.
The center, Dennis Franks, brings Michigan up to the line of scrimmage. Wide receivers, Johnson to the right side, and Hazelrig to the left side. High formation, he's going to pass. Drops back, looks, has time, Throws it. It is batted down by Ernie Jones, the defensive tackle. The pass was intended as a safety valve pass to Ed Shuttlesworth, the fullback. The primary receiver, I believe, was Johnson, and he was covered along with the wide receiver on the left side. And he wanted to release to Shuttlesworth, but Ernie Jones got a hand up in the air and batted it down. Now coming in to punt for the first time for Michigan is Barry Dotzauer, a senior and a very fine punter. He has averaged some 39 yards. Neil Colsey, probably the most dangerous punt return man in collegiate football, is the deep man. Here's a driving kick, and Colsey gets it at the 16 to the 20. Cuts to the right, hit. And a jarring tackle and a great tackle by Hoban. Mike Hoban from Chicago's Gordon Tech. Colsey, who has done such a brilliant job, he's averaged over 18 yards a return this year, had only 6 yards on that one, and Dotzauer's kick was a 34-yarder. First and 10 at the 22-yard line for Ohio State.
Clear, clean, crisp, sparkling, pure. Old Style is such a beer, and it's only natural. They make Old Style in God's country, where the skies are clear, the air is clean and crisp, where the sparkling, pure spring water stretches deep underground. Some folks say all the way from Canada. Now, with water like this, when you brew a beer once, you've got a good beer. But when you brew a beer twice, you've got a great light beer. This double brewing process is called krausening. And the Heileman's Old Style is the only premium beer in America today that is fully krausened. Old Style, beer brewed in God's country. With 7:18 left in the first period, it's been a kicking game. And the score, Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing. And just a spark of an offensive thrust in that last series of downs by Michigan has enabled them to get the first down of this football game. Michigan has dominated this game defensively, keeping Ohio State in their own territory. This may mean that Ohio State may have to go to the air, Vince.
They may. Holy Cross is left going over to the far sideline after that timeout, the official's timeout. And the wide receiver is Dave Hazel to the left side. Wingback is Boschnagel to the left side. Puggage the tight end to the right. They send Boschnagel in motion to the right. They give to Elia the fullback. Into the middle he goes for short gain up to about the 25-yard line. Stopped by Trozak and by Warner. Don Warner, number 54, the middle guard. From Dearborn, a senior, 5'11", 195. Red Trozak, number 75, came in to slow him down a bit. He's a 240-pound senior. Hazel again wide to the left side, and the wingback on the left side with tight end Puggich on the right. And again, Boschnagel in motion to the right. Returns, he gives Griffin. Tries to find an opening, can't do it. Squirms his way up to about the 30-yard line before that swarming Michigan defense collars in. Don Coleman, bottom man on that tackle for Michigan. Comes initially from Daly City, California. Grew up in Toledo, Ohio. This is the third down situation Ohio has been confronted with in this first quarter. Third down and 2. Let's see if they can convert for the first time. He may go to the full house T formation, and now they call timeout. Ohio State does, and Cornelius Green goes over to talk to veteran coach Woody Hayes. Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing.
State Mutual of America provides life insurance protection and an assured retirement income you can't outlive. Want to talk about these good ideas? Well, you know, the sooner the better. Just call the John R. Calv Agency in Chicago. The number is 332-1404. That telephone number? 332-1404. At the Calv Agency, you'll find professional financial security help and a lot of good ideas about ways to manage your money better. We've talked about the great linebackers, Bradishaw and Middleton of Ohio State. Well, let me tell you right now, the linebackers for the Michigan Wolverines have predominated the defensive play. Both defensive coordinators of these respective teams have done a great job. Maloney for Michigan and King for Ohio State. A great defensive game thus far. I think both teams and coaches Vince waiting for that one break to take advantage of a mistake being made. Only one turnover thus far, led by Michigan on a fumble.
Michigan is using Don Warner as a nose man defensively. And Steve Strinko, the middle linebacker, just had some final hectic words from Bo Schembechler before that timeout ended. Now Ohio State coming up to the line of scrimmage. Neither of these teams has allowed the opposition a point in the first quarter of any game this year. 3rd and 3. Mix up. Green gives to Griffin. Griffin on a busted play at the 25. Running laterally is going to be swarmed out, and he is thrown for a loss back at the 26-yard line as Cornelius Green turned and bumped Griffin. Did not give him a good handoff, and Griffin tried to move laterally without any... I had the feeling, Lou, that he just didn't know exactly where he was supposed to go after the bad handoff.
This is true. I think this is what made Ohio State Griffin call a timeout prior to that play. But then that little compact of brushing really gave the Maize and Blue an opportunity to push Griffin back for a loss.
This Kyle was about to abandon that tackle. Gordini in for a long punt. It is taken at the 27-yard line by Chapman, and he will go nowhere, but there's a flag on this play. After the punt return by Chapman, who was strapped down by Mark Strika, a beautiful punt by Slidini at 46 yards, his best so far this afternoon, 5-yard return, and Strika, number 57, a 216-pound senior, made the tackle. A clipping penalty against the Wolverines on the return, so the ball will be moved now from the 29-yard line back to the 16-yard line. And that is the first penalty of the afternoon. 5 minutes and 21 seconds remaining to play in the first quarter. Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing. It has been a kind of a game so far that everybody has expected from these two great teams. Hazelrig is a wing back to the left side, and Johnson the split end to the wire left side. The open side, and to give goes to Shuttlesworth. He breaks it at the line of scrimmage, driving on a slant to the outside, and Shuttlesworth is up to the 25-yard line. He has been the most consistent ground gainer for Michigan today. Brought down by Parsons and by Rick Middleton.
Deep in the Michigan territory, Vince, Hayes now has gone to a 6-man line. He's moved the great linebacker, Gradishar, up to the line of scrimmage.
Two tight ends in for Michigan with one wide receiver to the left side. And to give goes to Shuttlesworth. They were anticipating, and he has hit the moment he got that football. And I have to say that Michigan was fortunate that Shuttlesworth did not fumble, as the left tackle, Arnie Jones, a 233-pound junior, who used to be a back, came in and smothered him just as he got the handoff from his quarterback, Dennis Franklin. It was 2nd and 2. It is now 3rd and 3. A loss of a yard, and that is only the second time this year that Shuttlesworth has lost a yard rushing. Two wide receivers to the left side, the open side of the field for the Wolverines. 3rd and 3. The give goes to Heater. Jumps over a tackler at the line of scrimmage. Gets it out to about the 26 or 7-yard line. And he may have a 1st and 10. He had to get it to the 26. Middleton and Jones into the tackle. They got it. 1st and 10. Chuck Heater, who has averaged 6 yards a carry. A junior from Tiffin, Ohio. 6-footer. 200-pounder, and he can hit. Keith Johnson comes out, and the two tight ends are back in there now. Hazelrig going wide to the right side, the only wide receiver. A wing back to the right side. And that is Larry Gustafson for Michigan. Here's a gift to Shuttlesworth. He started to the left side, tried to read it back against the flow to the right. He was tripped up by Arnie Jones and brought down for a gain, perhaps, of a couple of yards. 2nd down and 8. Bo Schembechler, the Michigan coach, is alternating. Keith Johnson is split end, along with Larry Gustafson, to bring in plays. And again now has two tight ends in there. He sends Keith Johnson to the right side. That's the short side of the field with the wing back on the right. The fake give to the fullback. Here's a pass. It is incomplete, overthrown, intended for the number 1 receiver on Michigan's team, Paul Seal, who is 6'6", 218 pounds, a senior from Detroit. He has caught 13 passes, and had that pass from Franklin been on target, Lou, Paul Seal would have had himself his 14th reception of the year.
And he was open, Vince, for that moment, but only the fine charge of the defensive line of Ohio State hurried Franklin's throw, or it would have been a very fine completion.
That's the second pass attempted by Franklin today. He's 0 for 2. It is 3rd and 8. Let's see if he goes to the air again. He does. He drops back. He has time. Looks to Hazelrig. He's got the first down at the 42-yard line. A beautiful leaping catch by Clint Hazelrig, who has just gotten his 9th reception of the year. This one good for 12 yards. Clint Hazelrig, senior from Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, Dennis Franklin is 1 for 3 as a passer. Tackle made by the safety man, Parsons, to bring Hazelrig down, but they got the 1st and 10. They're at their own 41-yard line. Franklin turns, gives the hitter, puts his head down, barrels into the right side. He gets perhaps a couple of yards. He's stopped cold by Middleton and by the Cagle, the linebackers. Ball put out to the 44-yard line. 2 minutes and 22 seconds remaining to play in the first quarter. Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing. Tight end Denmore comes out now as Jim Beckler sends in a wide receiver. Wide to the right side is Keith Johnson, and Hazelrig lines up as a wingback on the right side. Shuttlesworth, fullback, and the give coming to Hazelrig, comes back on a reverse. He is met at the 45-yard line. He got by the first man, Pete Cusick, the tackle who came charging in, but he could not get by the quarterback, Steve Luke. A reverse by Hazelrig, coming back from the wingback spot on the right to the left side.
Fooled everybody but Luke. Yes, and he kept his position and kept it well and made a very fine tackle. Now, of course, with 3rd down and 6 to go, we can look for another pass.
Number 9, Dennis Franklin, brings Michigan up to the line of scrimmage. He drops back. He looks to the right, takes the pass. Now he wants to run, and he's not going to make any yardage to speak of at all. A good defensive play by Tim Fox, a fine cornerback, kept him smothered over there. He could not get his blockers out in front of him. Pete Cusick finally made the last stop on him, and Michigan is forced to punt. As they are confronted with 4th and 7 at their own 44. 1 minute and 2 seconds remaining to play. Neil Colsey, the deep man, had a 6-yard return. Colsey, 30 punt returns this year coming into this game, had averaged over 18 and a half yards and had carried 2 punts back for touchdowns. 198-pound junior. Here's a beautiful high kick by Dotzauer, and Colsey sees it soar over his head. It drops at the 2 and bounces into the end zone, a touchback. And a great punt by Barry Dotzauer. It'll be 1st and 10 for Ohio State at the Buckeyes' 20-yard line. A 56-yard boot. Take off 20 as they bring it out to the 20-yard line. The clock is stopped with just 36 seconds remaining to play in the first quarter. And these two teams, which have not allowed the opposition to score a point in the first quarter this year, looks like they're going to keep that part of their records clean this afternoon.
Once again, Michigan's defensive unit dominating play here in this first period. Let's see if they can continue, or will that offensive line wear down the defensive unit of Michigan.
2 tight ends for Ohio State, and the give to Griffin. Starts to the left, reads it back into the middle, and Griffin, with that tremendous quickness that he has, 184-pounder, advances for 5 to the 25-yard line. He is brought down by Don Coleman and by Steve Strinko. And Griffin running so quickly that time and reading the play beautifully. A 5-yard gain. It is 2nd down and 5. Clock is running. We now have 10 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Both ends are in tight I formation. Here's Ely, the fullback, and Griffin gives to Griffin. He starts to the right side, and a great tackle that time made by Strinko and Davis. Strinko, number 59, leading tackler. There's the end of the first quarter. Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing. Well, Lou, have you started dropping hints about what you'd like for Christmas? Because if you're starting to think about it, the folks at Carroll's have a couple of good ideas. Like, how does a new lamb knit turtleneck or sleeveless U-neck sweater sound to you?
Well, buddy, that probably sounds pretty good to every man listening right now.
And it's easy to figure out why. The lamb knit sweaters you find at Carroll's are just about the best-looking sweaters around. Lamb knit turtlenecks look terrific under a sport coat. Lamb knit sleeveless U-necks do great things for a shirt. And Carroll's has them both in machine washable rib knit in brown, burgundy, navy, black, gold, and hunter green. Lamb knit turtlenecks for $12. Sleeveless U-necks only $8.
So, fans, when you start dropping Christmas hints, drop Lamb knit and Carroll. They'll make you look good. There are 11 Carroll stores, including one at Lakehurst, 2 in Champaign. When you think of Christmas, think of Carroll.
one banner over there in the Ohio State section. Ohio number 1, wish again, Michigan. One thing about Don Canham and the athletic department here at the University of Michigan, they turned over some 21,000 seats to Ohio State Raiders and put them all together in a section on the other side of the field. They do not have to give the visiting school that many, and they certainly could have disposed of all of them and about 50,000 more had they wanted to stick to the regulations. All they would have to do is turn over some 2,000 tickets to the visiting school. But they gave them some 21,000. Third down and 2 for Ohio State at the 28-yard line as the second quarter gets underway. High formation with a wide receiver to the left side, and the pitch goes to Griffin. Tries to sweep the right side, cuts in. He's got yardage, spinning away. He's to the 50, to the 40. He is tackled from behind by Dave Brown. There is the longest gain of the day by either of these two teams. Archie Griffin taking it at the line of scrimmage, showing that great driving ability and the quickness to cut on a dime. He has advanced the ball to the Michigan 34-yard line on a brilliant 38-yard run. That's the first down for Ohio State, and that run should give them a little incentive. It's the first time that they've been in Michigan territory. Bashnagel wide to the right side of the I formation. Cornelius Green turns. He gives to Griffin again. He jumps over a couple of men at the line of scrimmage and is down inside the Michigan 30 to the Wolverines' 28-yard line. Archie Griffin, who in every one of the Ohio State games this year has amassed at least 100 yards rushing. Looks like he's going to do it again today against the Wolverines. Bashnagel wide to the right side. Fullback is Elia. Green, the quarterback, looks at that Michigan defense of about 5 men of the line of scrimmage. He gives to Elia a quick opener. To the right side, Elia goes to the 25, and the big fella is dropped down just inside the 25-yard line by the safety man, Dave Brown, and the defensive end, Don Coleman. And Ohio State's Buckeyes are driving. This is what they do best. Advance that ball on the ground. And Griffin, with an explosive 38-yard burst, has given the Buckeyes momentum. Third down and less than a yard. The 25-yard line, we'll call it of Michigan. Ohio State looks like they want to get on the board in a hurry. The pitch to Griffin starts to left, reads it inside. Jumps over 2 or 3 men, including a couple of blockers down there. Dick Mack was one of them. And he is down inside the 20 before Brown and Strinko can finally lasso him and bring him down to the carpet. First and 10 for Ohio State at the Michigan 20-yard line. Archie Griffin, a tremendous runner here in this second quarter. After being bottled up pretty much in the first quarter, Bashnagel wide to the right side. It's Don Smurda and Fred Pugic, 2 running backs behind Green. He turns, gives to Elia. The fullback is hit just as he takes the handoff, and he has stopped at the 20-yard line, maybe the 21, on a very fine tackle by Tim Davis, the middle guard. Davis has made more tackles for losses for Michigan this year than any other defender. And that is his 10th this year for a loss. His drive started, remember, on the Ohio State 20-yard line, following the punt by Barry Dotzauer that went into the end zone. Wide receiver to the right side. It is 2nd and 11 at the 21, and the pitch to Griffin starts to the left side. Gets a block. Now he is hit by Gallagher and dropped down. Dave Gallagher just could not be moved out of there. The 245-pound senior played it perfectly. And Archie Griffin has stopped at the 21-yard line for no gain. It is third down at 11. This is W by Ohio State. Ohio State has only one more timeout left in this half. They've used 2 already. Well, this winter, this country faces a heating fuel shortage. Now, how severe it will be depends on all of you, on where you set your thermostat. Standard Oil suggests that you dial down to a daytime setting of not more than 68 degrees, with an overnight setting of not more than 65 degrees. Now, if you leave your home for the weekend, they suggest you dial down to 55 degrees. This way, you can conserve a substantial amount of oil, gas, and electricity over the winter, enough to help ease the shortage. Gasoline conservation helps beat the shortage this summer
we can ease the heating fuel situation this winter in the same way. So let's all dial down the thermostat and beat this thing together. Standard Oil Division, Amoco Oil Company. It's third down and 11 on Michigan's 21-yard line. This is the farthest penetration Ohio State has had thus far in this ball game, with 11 minutes, 57 seconds left in the second period.
Pass single wide to the right side, and I am wondering if Ohio State, if they fail to get the first down here, will go for a field goal attempt. Green turns. He fakes to Griffin. He wants the pass. Now he's going to run. He sees somebody open. He's starting to the right side. He's to the 15. And he is dropped down at the 14-yard line. And a very good run by Cornelius Green. He picks up about 7 yards. He saw his intended receivers were covered, and he took off. And Mr. Green, a sophomore from Washington, not big, but exceptionally quick with his feet. Now they do bring in Blair Conway, a senior, who has voted 4 out of 9 field goal attempts. And this apparent field goal attempt will come from the Michigan 21-yard line. This will mean that it is a 31-yard attempt. 7 yards. He saw his intended receivers were covered, and he took off. And Mr. Green, a sophomore from Washington, not big, but exceptionally quick with his feet. Now they do bring in Blair Conway, a senior, who has voted 4 out of 9 field goal attempts. And this apparent field goal attempt will come from the Michigan 21-yard line. This will mean that it is a 31-yard attempt. It's just outside the 21. Schlegel holding. Here's the boot. Here's the kick. It is up. It is good. Blair Conway has put in a 31-yard field goal with 11 minutes, 4 seconds remaining in the first half, and Ohio State leads Michigan 3-0.
State Mutual of America provides life insurance protection and an assured retirement income you can't outlive. Want to talk about these good ideas? Well, you know, the sooner the better. Call the John R. Calb Agency in Chicago. The number is 332-1404. At the Calb Agency, you'll find professional financial security help and a lot of good ideas about ways to manage your money better. Conway never kept his head down any better, nor his foot planting on that football more solidly as he did then. As soon as he made contact, he looked up and jumped about 6 feet into the air, knowing that his field goal attempt was good. It's now Ohio State 3, Michigan nothing. 11:04 left in the second period.
Here's the run-up, and here is the kick. It is taken by Gil Chapman inside the 10. Chapman running to the right, takes off the tackler at the 15, the 20, 25, 30, cuts back into the middle. Gil Chapman may go all the way. He is being pursued. Now he is brought down from behind at the 27-yard line by Rich Parsons, the safety, who was the last hope. And it was Parsons who showed a little more speed than Chapman, but a flag has been brought back here at the 23-yard line for the man who did the kicking off for Ohio State. Brodany has been hurt, and let's see whether that is a result of a clip against Michigan or whether it's against Ohio State. It would nullify, if it's against the Wolverines, a tremendous run by Chapman. With a fine block thrown in there by Tumpain. Pat Tumpain from Mount Carmel in Chicago. A junior 235-pounder, number 64. But it's going to be wiped out.
Let me tell you, Vince, he took out 2 Ohio State men, and he was not the one that clipped. But it was a great block that enabled Chapman to go as far as he did, and it's too bad. And that's Ohio State's punter that is hurt.
Chapman went 66 yards, but wiped it all out on the clipping penalty. The ball is brought back to the Michigan 12-yard line. And there is a costly mistake for one of the Wolverines. I'm not sure who was detected doing the clipping.
Not intentional, of course, Vince. Most clippings will be called on either passes, punts, or kickoffs. It returns, and of course that clipping means that he was blocked from the rear, and let's hope that the youngster is not hurt seriously. It looks as if it is his left leg.
And Tom Spladini is being helped off the field here by two of his Ohio State teammates, and he is dragging that left leg. He's a freshman. Hunter, kickoff man from Coral Gables, Florida. Michigan, 1st and 10. At their own 12-yard line, Ohio State leading in the football game 3-0. Dennis Franklin is quarterback the Wolverines all the way. He is in there now. Behind him, Ed Shuttlesworth, and behind Shuttlesworth is Chapman. Hazelrig, the wingback, to the left side, the tight end on the right. He turns to the left, and he gives the ball to Shuttlesworth, who cracks over right side and tackle. Gets about 3 yards, and that's all. Bottom man on that tackle, Jimmy Cope, also in it as Rick Middleton, a linebacker. A senior, 222, and he hits hard. Keith Johnson comes out as a split end for Michigan as Schembechler sends in a play. And he is sending Gustafson wide to the left side, the open side of the field. Ball at the hash mark on the near side. Now they go into a power I formation. And the give goes to Chapman. Chapman slicing through the left side. He had Hazelrig as a blocker up in front of him along with the other running back, Shuttlesworth. And he advances it out to about the 19-yard line, between the 19 and the 20. It is going to be 3rd down and 3. 252-pound Pete Cusick defensive tackle for Ohio State in on that stop. This is a big play for Michigan. Clock is running with about 9:45 left to play. Hazelrig this time comes out wide to the right side. I formation. Franklin gives. Chapman tries to read it back up the middle, and he cannot get the first down yardage. He is stopped at the 21-yard line, shy of first down yardage by about 2 yards. Trying to clear the way for him was Curtis Tucker. And Michigan is going to be forced to punt. Arnie Jones and Vic Cagle. We're into that defensive stop for the Buckeyes on that one. Neil Colsey will be the deep man as a receiver on this punt. And the short man will be a plank up at about the midfield stripe. Barry Dotzauer, one of the brightest punters in the conference, will get this one away from his 10-yard line. Ohio State does not put on a big rush, and he sends a high soaring punt that Colsey captures at his 40, to the 45, Colsey to the 50, to the Michigan 45, runs out of room as he is driven out of bounds in front of the Ohio State bench on the far side of the field. But Ohio State has what Woody Hayes wants most of all, not only the lead in the football game, but position on the field where he does not have to pass. That was a 38-yard boot by Dotzauer and a good 18-yard return by Colsey, and that's just about Colsey's average. Time is taken out of the field. Ohio State leads 3-0.
HFC believes the holidays should be happy days, days spent enjoying your family. So if we can possibly take a money problem off your mind, we're nearby and ready to help. Fact is, we've probably helped more families celebrate happy holidays than any other consumer finance company. If we can help you, see us at Household Finance, an equal opportunity lender.
At Household Finance Loan Corporation, you may borrow up to $5,000 on a wide variety of repayment plans. HFC has 61 offices in the Chicago area. See your phone book. Well, the clip certainly hurt Michigan insofar as their drive, instead of being on Ohio State's 24-yard line, they had to return, of course. Now they lose possession of the football.
And Ohio State has it 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line of the Michigan Wolverines. Franklin turns, and he gives to Johnson, the fullback, running for the first time today. And this big fella bowls his way to about the 37 or 38-yard line. He's brought down by Brown and by Carl Russ. Pete Johnson is a freshman from Long Beach, New York. 6'1", 236 pounds. He is number 33, has carried the ball 29 times, has averaged over 3 yards a carry. Wide receiver to the left side is Brian Baschnagel for Ohio State. On the option play, rolling to the left side is Green. He decides to keep. He probably would like that decision over again as he is wrestled down at about the 35-yard line by Carl Russ, number 3 tackler defensively for Michigan this year. So it is 3rd down and 3 at the 35-yard line. Actually, this is what you might be able to call 4-down territory for Ohio State. In other words, if they don't make the 3 yards this time, they could go for it rather safely because it would not give Michigan great field position. Wide receiver to the right side, 2 tight ends, high formation. Johnson, the fullback. Behind him is Griffin. Green gets a snap. He pitches to Griffin. Who else? He cuts into the left side, and he is stopped. The first man through was Dave Elliott, the cornerback, who caused Griffin to go to the inside, and then he was met by the middle guard, Tim Davis, number 56, and brought down at the 36-yard line for a loss of a yard. It is 4th down and 4. At the 36. Now coming in to punt for the first time today for Ohio State is Mike Bartosik. He gets this one away from his 46-yard line. He is aiming for the sidelines. He puts it out of bounds at the 11 or 12-yard line of Michigan. Bartosik, a high kick. The other punter, of course, but then he was injured. That's a 25-yard kick with no return. And Michigan finds itself deep in its own territory, and Bo Schembechler on the phones with his coaching staff upstairs, trying to get some good word from his offensive man up there to see what they can do.
It was the first period when Ohio State found themselves in the back of the wall, and now in the second period, Michigan can't move out of their defensive zone.
He's going with a power I formation. And to give goes to Chapman. Breaks it over the left side. Chapman to the 15 to about the 16, and he just missed breaking that one for a very long gain. Credit Tim Fox, the cornerback coming up beautifully for Ohio State. Chapman had a 66-yard punt return nullified by a clipping penalty. We're not sure who was guilty of that clip. One word was it was Steve King. They stay with a power I, and the give goes this time to Chapman. Chapman starts to the right, reads it over to the left side as he thought he detected a little daylight there, but I think his eyes did him wrong. He gets it up to about the 20-yard line. Stopped by Arnie Jones and Vic Cagle. Keith Johnson comes racing off the Michigan bench to join that huddle over there, and replaces Gustafson. 3rd down and 2, and Michigan desperately needs a first down. 5:45 left to play in the first half. Ohio State leads 3-0. All right, the pitch to Chapman, tries the right side, right up at the 20-yard line. Great defensive play. Van DeCree, a 215-pound defensive end, and also number 62, Vic Cagle. Well, DeCree, number 88, is not the biggest defensive man in the field by any means at 215. He is very, very quick. And Neil Colsey drops back again as a safety man along with Doug Plank. But Colsey will be the deep man as Barry Doubtsour has to put his foot to that ball again. Ohio State leading 3-0. We now have just a little less than 5 minutes left to play in the first half. Here is a low kick. He's trying to put it away from Colsey. He gets it on the bounce at his 40-yard line, and he is hit hard. Gary Heinrihar, number 69 from Cicero, Illinois, a star at Morton East High School, 223-pound senior, great coverage. A 40-yard kick by Doubtsour, a 5-yard return by Colsey. Ohio State has had the advantage here insofar as field position is concerned throughout this second quarter. The Buckeyes have it 1st and 10 at their own 45-yard line. Bashnagel wide to the right side. Woody Hayes and the Buckeyes staying with 2 tight ends. High formation to give to Griffin. Starts in. He is hit by Steve Strinkall. Still pulls his way for a couple of yards. Rico holding on for dear life, and Archie Griffin has it in Michigan territory at the Wolverines' 44-yard line, a 6-yard gain by Archie.
Great second effort, Vince. He had the yardage in mind to gain, and he did it all on his intestinal fortitude because he had the Michigan defensive tackle all over it.
49-yard line is where it is. Returns, he gives to Griffin, slants to the outside, gets loose from two men. He's inside the 45, and down to about the 42 or 43-yard line of Michigan. He has himself a 1st and 10. Coleman and Carl Russ in on the tackle for Michigan. But Griffin met and repelled the attack of the first two Michigan defenders. That is the 3rd first down by Ohio State. High formation again. They're on the move. Late in the second quarter here at Ann Arbor. Before 105,000, the pitch goes to Griffin. Cuts back sharply to the inside. He is met at the 36-yard line and a very fine stop by Dave Brown, who lifted Griffin off his feet with the force of his jarring tackle. But it is still a considerable gain inside the Michigan 35-yard line. Walt Williamson comes in as a defensive end, number 91 for Michigan. And he'll line up on the left side along with number 75, Doug Prozac. High formation again. They're staying with power. He turns. He gives to Griffin. Quick opener through the middle. He's down to the 25. Drags the tackler Brown along for 2 or 3 more yards. And he finally is brought down by Don Dupek after Brown had hit him initially. But he is all the way down to the 23-yard line, and that was a beautiful quick opener by Archie Griffin, going right behind the tackle of Hicks.
Once again, the center, Franks, doing a great job of blocking, taking out that man that's playing nose-to-nose against him. And as a center, Vince, that's how important that blocking game can be for your defensive offensive men.
That was a 12-yard gain. This time he goes to his fullback, Johnson. Starts over right tackle, cuts back into the middle, and Johnson is inside the 20, down to about the 16 or 17-yard line. Making the stop on him was Strinko. Coming up to help was Carl Russ. The clock shows 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining to play in the first half, with Ohio State leading 3-0. Coming out is Tim Davis as the middle guard for Michigan. 2nd down and 4. 2nd and 4. Ohio State's tremendous power on the ground is really asserting itself in this second quarter. They have dominated the play. They give to Johnson. He is met, and he brushes aside the tackle of Carl Russ, spins out of his arms, but Russ did slow Johnson down long enough so that a couple of other Michigan men could come up and make the tackle on him inside the 15 at the 14-yard line.
Ohio State has 1 timeout left. 3rd down 1 with 1:45 left in the second period.
3rd and 1. This is a great drive by Ohio State. They lead 3-0. Here's the give to Griffin. Quick opener through the left side. Jumps over a couple of men. He is inside the 10, and Griffin is finally brought down at the Michigan 5-yard line by Dave Brown and Dave Elliott. But this Ohio State offensive line, which averages some 226 pounds, certainly one of the great offensive collegiate lines, has been opening some great holes. They have taken charge of this Michigan defense. 1st and goal at the 5-yard line with 1 minute and 20 seconds showing on the clock, which is still running. Ohio State has 1 timeout left. And now, because of the noise of the crowd, sophomore cornerback Cornelius Green asks for time so that his teammates can hear the signal. He took a few steps over to the sideline on the far side of the field here, and Woody Hayes hollered something to Cornelius Green. Ohio State is rehuddling, now coming back out of that huddle. 1st and goal at the Michigan 5. Ohio State threatening to get its first touchdown of the day. Now they go with a full house tee to give to Johnson, the big fullback. Tracks over left side. He is hit at the 5. He still drives and drives, and it's a touchdown for Ohio State. Pete Johnson, freshman fullback, hit at the 5. No way Michigan's tacklers could stop him. The 236-pounder drove them into the end zone, and he has his third touchdown of the year. 9-0, Ohio State with 53 seconds remaining to play in the first half. That was a 55-yard drive, and Ohio State used only 8 plays to do it, and all of them on the ground. Blair Conway, a senior, will try for the point after. It is almost blocked by Dave Brown, but he missed it. However, the kick is good by Conway. Michigan was offside, but the kick was good. And Conway now has converted on 41 out of 50 attempts this year. The score, with 53 seconds left in the first half, Ohio State 10. I believe it is 10. The scoreboard is still showing 9.
It's good.
Now they signal that it was good. It was offside against Michigan, as we called it, but of course Ohio State, they might have tried for 2 points, and that was the reason for the delay. But Woody says, I'll take the point after, and the score is 10-0 Ohio State.
Fans, stop in at Carroll's, where you'll find hundreds of Christmas ideas for every man on your shopping list. From the bigger, taller places, for the big guys in the family, to the red hanger shops for the young. The 11 Carroll stores have gifts to make every man on your Christmas list look good. Michigan has 53 seconds left in this first half to get back into this football game. Ohio State, with that great drive by great runs by Griffin, set up the touchdown drive by Johnson. It is now Ohio State 10, Michigan nothing.
Blair Conway has teed it up on the 40-yard line, just inside the hash mark on the east side of the field here at Ann Arbor. Waiting for the signal from the referee. Gil Chapman is a deep man for Michigan, which finds itself trailing 10-0 the first time this year. Of course, the Wolverines have been behind. Only 53 seconds showing on the clock. Now Conway, poised. He's only a 155-pounder, but once in a while he goes down there and sits on the tackle. A squib kick bounces off the chest of a Michigan man who falls on it at the 30-yard line. And up there on that kicking team for Michigan was Przgotsky, a tight end. He did not try to run it back. He just fell on it to be sure that his team kept possession of the football. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line. And Dennis Franklin coming in to quarterback them. Coming in to join him in that huddle is Keith Johnson, number 27, the sophomore from Munster, Indiana. Number 2 receiver, and he is wide to the right side with Hazelrig spread out to the left side. Franklin dropping back, rolling to the right. He's going to have to run. He is hit. Great tackle by Vic Cagle, the linebacker. Hit him up around the neck, and he hauled him down at the 33-yard line. That was an option rollout to the right side, and Franklin elected to run. The clock now is running. Michigan has 3 timeouts left in this first half, but they are not using them. Strangely enough, and you can't hold them over. Clock is running. They trail 10-0. He drops back. He gives to Chapman on the draw. He is hit and buried at the 35-yard line. Now Michigan calls the first of its timeouts. It has coming to it here in the first half. Cagle again into that tackle. It is 3rd down and 6 yards to go. With Ohio State leading Michigan 10-0.
With this 10-0 lead, Vince, the defensive unit, of course, of Ohio State, all keyed up now. And, of course, they're set back in their defensive patterns for a pass. They'll expect Franklin to put the ball in the air, although he is on his own 35-yard line. 12 seconds left in the first half. A crowd of over 105,000 people here today to witness this contest. It's been a bruising game. Hard tackling, hard blocking, and right now the advantage, of course, belongs to Ohio State.
Woody has just sent in a freshman safety man, Bruce Rule, number 43, replacing junior Rich Parsons. Franklin drops back. Now he's going to try to run. He's at the 40. He is hit at the 40-yard line by Cagle, number 62, and by Gradishar, number 53. And time runs out on the first half. And the powerful Buckeyes of Ohio State show some 105,000 people here at Ann Arbor Stadium this afternoon in the first two periods why they have been ranked number one among the collegiate powers in the nation. They lead Michigan 10-0.
Yes.
Easy, and it is taken by Gil Chapman, who had a 66-yard punt return wiped out by a clipping penalty. He is brought down by Doug Plank at about the 27 or 28-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Michigan Wolverines. They have Dennis Franklin at quarterback, Ed Shuttlesworth, and Gil Chapman, number 24, the running backs. Clint Hazelrig is the wingback. And the wide receiver, Keith Johnson, coming out to the right side. 1st and 10 for Michigan. They trail 10-0. Franklin turns, gives to Shuttlesworth. And the big fullback powers his way through the right side. We're again up across the 30 to the 33 or 34-yard line. Now, Shuttlesworth in the first half carried 7 times for 34 yards. It's a good average of 4.9. Bo Schembechler brings in a tight end, Greg Denbauer, and sends out the split end, Keith Johnson, to get a little more power in there. 2nd and 5. Hazelrig wide to the left side, the short side of the field. Again, the give to Shuttlesworth. Then he cracks through the right guard and tackle spot, is hit, tries to squirm forward for a couple of more yards. But that very stubborn Ohio State defense limits him to a short gain, and it is going to be 3rd down. Let's see whether or not they may want to measure. Close to a 1st down. It is a 1st down. Good effort that time by Shuttlesworth. Steve Luke and Jim Cope defensively. 46-91 for Ohio State, finally bringing him down. 1st and 10. That is the 5th 1st down by Michigan this afternoon. Wide receiver Johnson back in, and they send him to the left side. And the tight end on the left side is Paul Seal. Here's Franklin, the option, pitching to Chapman, trying to turn the corner. He gets one bit of a block from Seal, who drove his man to the outside. That was Neil Colsey. Then Chapman, cutting inside the block across the 40 to the 41-yard line, ran into Decree, who decreed that he should go no further. You'll pardon it? I pardoned it. Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7.
Vince, to open up the second half, Michigan is staying with their game plan. Running Shuttlesworth and Chapman and trying to get in the field position.
2 tight ends in there. Wide receiver to the right side. Franklin looking over that massive Ohio State defense. Drops back. He's going to put it in the air. Fires to the left side. He hits Hazelrig at the 48-yard line of Ohio State, and Hazelrig is bounced out of bounds. That's about the 46-yard line by defensive end Jim Cope. Luke trying to come in to help him. There is the first pass in the second half. It is complete. In the first half, they were 1 for 3. That was a 14-yard gain. They're in Ohio State territory at the 46-yard line. Wide receiver to the right side. Again, 2 tight ends. This time to give to Chapman, and he is hit, and hit hard by Kusick. Big defensive tackle, number 71. 252 pounds, and he nailed him. They just could not keep Kusick out of there. And here's a junior who'll be back next year. Isn't that good news for the rest of the conference? Denbauer, number 84, tight end, cutting out for Michigan. They're now faced with 2nd down and 8. Seal lines up on the left side, and off to the right side comes the split end with Hazelrig as a wingback on the right, an I formation. Shuttlesworth and Chapman, the give to Shuttlesworth, the fullback on a slant to the right side, puts his head down, gets between a couple of Ohio State Buckeyes. He did get by Gradishar, but he couldn't get by Fox, number 12, and number 42, Artie Jones. They're now inside the Ohio State 40-yard line. It is 3rd down and a long 3 at the 39-yard line of Ohio State. 3rd and a long 3. Gustafson is now wide receiver to the right side, a power I formation. And the give to Chapman. Puts his head down, he finds an opening. And he goes off his own right guard, gets inside the 35-yard line of Ohio State. Jones, one of the men in the tackle. Gradishar, also one fighting from down there. And a very, very good move that time by Gil Chapman. I have to believe, Lou, that Mike Hoban, at Georgia Tech in Chicago, was one of the guys who cleared the pass.
Yes, indeed. Hoban just drove his man right back, enabled Chapman to make first down.
First and 10 at the 34-yard line of Ohio State. Michigan came out of the huddle, then regroups. The Wolverines call timeout with 11:26 left to play. Third quarter, Ohio leads 10-0.
This message from State Mutual of America is for young men who are never going to die. Well, more power to you. The death benefits of life insurance? Well, you won't hear them mentioned again. But how would your family get along if you should be disabled? Now, that could happen. And there's a good way to protect against it. Disability income insurance. It provides income if you're laid up and can't work. Another good idea from State Mutual. You see, you really do need a good insurance program after all, even if you're going to live forever. Call the John R. Calva Agency in Chicago for complete details. Their number is 332-1404. At the Calva Agency.
In here tonight, we can go over to Northville Downs. They've got a banner here that says Racing Nightly at Northville Downs at 8 p.m.
That wouldn't be bad. We could say hello to Mr. Slavin and all the people over there. Vince, we have one score. In the first period, Northwestern has taken a 3-0 lead over Illinois. What was that score? Northwestern 3. Excuse me, we're getting a correction. It's the end of the first period. Northwestern 3, Illinois nothing.
How about that? Johnny Pott has really had an exciting season, to say the least. Michigan has had to call timeout, and now they're waiting for the Folsom television line to tell them they can go ahead and proceed to play again. They anticipate one of the largest audiences in television of this game that they have ever had. Let me tell you, this is a tremendous atmosphere here today. All right, now we're set to go with two tight ends in there and a wide receiver, Hazelrig, to the right. Franklin turns, the boy from Massillon, Ohio, gives it to Shuttlesworth, the fullback, who was racked up after a very short gain. He didn't find much room on the left side of that line. Arnie Jones, the bottom end of that tackle. Radishar is also in there, along with number 62, Nick Cagle. Three excellent linebackers on this Ohio State football team. Radishar, everybody figures, will go pretty high in the pro draft choice. 10-0, Ohio State's lead. Keith Johnson split end to the right side. Shuttlesworth and Chapman, the running backs, in the fake give to Chapman. Franklin drops back, looks, he's got time, he throws deep in the end zone. It is incomplete. It is picked off by Ohio State, Neil Colsey, who comes up with his fourth interception of the year. The pass was intended for the split end Keith Johnson. Colsey coming in front of him. He leads this Ohio State ball club in pass interceptions. That is his fourth this year. And it is the fifth time this season that Dennis Franklin has had one of his aerials intercepted, and that stops the Michigan drive.
Vince, he had plenty of time. His offensive line gave him plenty of time to throw, but I thought that he had a primary target was covered, and he went to the deep man.
And he threw into a crowd. First and 10 for Ohio State. Here's the pitch to Griffin. Griffin reads the left side, breaks a tackle from Gallagher. Is hit at the 25 by Brown, and then finally rolled out of bounds by Trozak.
Very difficult man to bring down, isn't he? He runs right through tackles.
When you run through a Dave Gallagher, number 71, he's a 245-pounder. And Griffin just kind of gave him the hip and then took it away from him. And he reels off an 8-yard gain, and he now goes over the 100 mark in yards gained in this football game. He has 107 for the afternoon. And he has gone over 100 yards in every game Ohio State has played this year. They give to Griffin. Quick opener, left side. Puts a shoulder down, barrels by one Michigan defender. He got by Strinko and up to the 37 or 38-yard line. 37 is where they say he was stopped finally by Kyle Russ and by Don Coleman.
Archie Griffin, who will carry 3, 4, 5 times in a row. That is the first down for Ohio State in this half, and, of course, the first opportunity they have had, and it's number 6 for them for the day. They're going from an I formation with both ends in tight. Green turns, gives to Griffin, twists away from one man. The first man to hit him was Russ, and he held on to him, and Steve Srinko finally came up and put the clincher on, and that's the shortest gain that Griffin has had in this series. Srinko getting up a little bit slowly, but he's okay. He calls the defensive signals after checking the sidelines here just below us, gets a sign from one of the defensive coaches, then calls the defensive play. Wide receiver to the right side for the Ohio State Buckeyes, 2nd and 9. They lead 10-0. Green turns, gives to Griffin on a slant right side. Tripped up momentarily by Trozak. Gets across the 40 to the 42. And Griffin now is nearing, well, he'll be approaching the 1,400-yard mark in yards gained rushing this season before this game is over. He plants it out at the 42-yard line. It is now 3rd and 5, WGN Radio, Chicago. First in sound, first in service, and first in sports. Perlanger in defensively, replacing Trozak for Michigan. Perlack, number 97 from Crystal, Minnesota, 235-pound junior. Wide receiver to the right side, but 2 tight ends. And Green flips to Griffin. Griffin running into a crowd. Keeps his legs turning, but he cannot advance past the 43-yard line on a swarming Michigan defense. Bottom man was Perlinger, who just came in along with Coleman. And it is 4th down and 4, and the Ohio State Buckeyes will have to relinquish possession. Let's see who'll be coming in to punt. When is that hurt earlier? Mike Bartosik, a split end. Will punt for the 2nd time today. He should get this one away from about his own 31 or 32-yard line. Chapin, one of the deep receivers. They put no rush on at a high soaring kick. It is taken at 25 by Chapin, and he gets a 1-yard advance before he is brought down by Dick Mack, whose father. Mack was quite a baseball player, Lou.
Yes, indeed. And he was quite a football player also, and his son trying to follow in his dad's footsteps, having a great year at Ohio State.
That was a 32-yard boot by Bartosik, a 1-yard return by Chapman, who returned one for 66 yards in the 2nd quarter, only to have it nullified by a clipping penalty. And Michigan trailing 10-0, 8 minutes, 11 seconds showing on the clock here at Ann Arbor, 105,000 plus here this afternoon. Timeout has been taken.
This message from State Mutual of America is for young men who are never going to die. Well, more power to you. You know the death benefits of life insurance? Well, you won't hear them mentioned again. But how would your family get along if you should be disabled? You know that could happen. There's a good way to protect against it. Disability income insurance. It provides income if you're laid up and can't work. Another good idea from State Mutual. You see, you really do need a good insurance program after all, even if you're going to live forever. Call the John R. Calb Agency in Chicago for complete details. Their number is 332-1404. At the Calb Agency, you'll find professional security help and a lot of good ideas about ways to manage your money better.
Crowd chants, let's go blue. They're working from a power I formation to give to Chapman, the number 2 man of that eye. He starts on a slant to the left side, and he can go nowhere. Coming in to make the tackle is Pete Cusick. There's been a bulwark defensively on that right side for Ohio State. The man trying to clear a path for him was Jim Cood, a senior from Mayfield, Ohio, a 245-pounder, but he just could not get Cusick out of the way. Short gain in the play of about 2 yards. We've got a 2nd down at the 28-yard line. The Wolverines come up to the line of scrimmage, led by center Dennis Franks. Number 9, Dennis Franklin, the quarterback. He fakes the give to Shuttlesworth on the option. He pitches to Chapman, tries to turn the corner, and he is kept inside by the cornerback, Tim Fox. He dove and picked up a couple of more yards. Then it was Jim Cood trying to lead the way for him there, along with the tight end, Paul Seal. It is now going to be 3rd and 4.
We have another Big Ten score in the 2nd period. It's Purdue 14, Indiana nothing. We have 7 minutes left here in this 3rd period. Michigan trying to get on that scoreboard.
Keith Johnson, the split end, is carried in the play. He's wide to the left side, and they also have Hazelrig in the slot to the left from an eye. Franklin drops back. Look out! He fires a short pass intended for Shuttlesworth, the fullback, over his head and incomplete. And Michigan will be forced to punt. Kusick and Jones putting on tremendous pressure on Dennis Franklin. Franklin from Massillon, Ohio, a junior. 6'1", 180. And he leaves the playing field as the Michigan kicking team comes in. Barry Dotzauer limbers up the leg. This is the 5th time that Michigan will be having to punt today. Dotzauer has averaged 42 yards on his punts this afternoon. He'll get this one away from his own 21. Not much of a rush put on. They want a return from Cozy. He catches it to 38, and he is down at the 40-yard line. Chuck Heater on great coverage that time, and he was shaken up a little bit, kind of carrying his right shoulder as he comes off the field. Over to the Michigan bench just below us. 6:42 left in the third quarter. That was a 30-yard boot by Dotzauer and a 2-yard return by Colsey, one of the shortest of the year for him. Archie Griffin is in that backfield. Quarterback is Cornelius Green, number 7. Griffin, number 45. And the fullback is Bruce Elia. The other fullback scored the touchdown from 5 yards out. The fake give, and Green keeps. He cuts inside behind great interference to the 50 to the 45. He is inside the 45 to the 42-yard line of Michigan. That is one of the things that Cornelius Green does as well as any collegiate quarterback I have seen. He faked the give that time to Elia, the fullback. Stayed behind him, cut downfield beautifully, stayed to the inside, and he picks up a big gain. To the 42, Walt Williamson of Michigan seems to be the fellow who was shaken up on that play. Officials are calling time out here because of the injury.
Well, I think the only men getting in-row dress shirts from Carroll's for Christmas are men who wear dress shirts a lot. Well, then guess again. The new in-row shirts are going to men who want great fit, great looks, and great feel in every shirt they wear. And that's about every man around. You know, Carroll's has in-row dress shirts for every man on your Christmas list. In perma-pressed twills, basket weaves, and knits. In regular button-down styles and in all the newest colors, including brown, burgundy, and blues from $11 to $14. Give in-row shirts for Christmas. They'll make a man happy and make him look good. There are 11 Carroll stores, including one at Ford City, 2 in Champaign. When you think of Christmas, think of Carroll.
It was Dave Brown, the safety man, number 6, who was shaken up on that play, and he's going to leave temporarily, but he left under his own power. They just want him to get the cobwebs out. Replacing him is number 10, Greg Koss, K-O-S-S, 6'5", 190-pound senior from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. All right, 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. Are on the move. The pitch to Griffin. Wanted to turn the corner, had to cut inside, ran into a whole host of maize and blue jerseys, and he's brought down for a short gain. At the 41-yard line, Steve Strinko, the middle linebacker, making the stop on Griffin. He has rolled over more than 100 yards today. Dave Brown is coming back in, and Koss leaves as a safety man now after one play. They're running from an eye, but both ends in tight, and the wide receiver to the left side. Franklin on the option. He's going to try to keep it. He does. He wants to cut inside, but he can't get by 2 Michigan defenders, Carl Russ and Tom Drake. They pitched him, and Green brought down for a short gain at the 39-yard line, and the keeper to the left side that time. There was 3rd down for Ohio State, 3rd and 6 at the 38-yard line. They have had 2 third down situations in this half. They have not made one yet. They're 3 for 10 in that department for the day. 10 times have been confronted with 3rd down yardage. The give goes to Griffin, who else puts his head down, gets a good block. A very fine block from Jim Kriegel, number 63, and Ohio State thinks they have the 1st down. Dave Gallagher making the stop.
Well, I think they want to go for it, Vince.
Yes, they do.
They're waving to Hayes.
Yes, they do.
They feel that they can make it. And, of course, we've seen this situation several times this year, and they have made it. And
they
he
have about a yard and a half.
He gives them permission.
He says, go ahead, fellas. Your ball game. 4th down and a yard and a half at the Michigan 34-yard line. Big center, Steve Myers, 254-pound junior, over the ball. On the keeper. He tries the right side, and he is spilled by Perlinger, Jeff Perlinger, on a very fine defensive play. Cornelius Green took one step back. He did not give it. Michigan jubilant as the defensive team comes off the field to be replaced by the offense. 1st and 10 for the Michigan Wolverines. All this between the 32 and 33-yard line. Officially, they're going to call it the 33.
A big play for the defensive unit for Michigan. Now it's up to their offense to get this ball moving. They have 4 minutes and 25 seconds left here in the 3rd period.
Our formation, Shuttlesworth and Chapman, the running backs. The give to Shuttlesworth, and the fullback racked up after a short gain. They tried the trap play that time, and he's brought down at the 35-yard line. In on the tackle, Arnie Jones has been in on a lot of them today. He's a 233-pound junior, number 42. Offensive change, number 48, Gustafson coming in for Michigan. He gives the play, and he comes back to the sidelines after going into the huddle to give them the play. Does not stay in the game. Hazelrig wide to the left side, 2 tight ends in. He gives the play, and he comes back to the sidelines after going into the huddle to give them the play. Does not stay in the game. Hazelrig wide to the left side, 2 tight ends in. Franklin drops back, fakes to Chapman, rolls to the left, fires a pass. It is ruled a complete pass to Hazelrig, who came down with it at the 46 or 47-yard line. A very fine reception by Hazelrig, who was bumped out by Tim Cox.
This is what Michigan will have to do, Vince. Put the football in the air, hoping that Franklin can be on target.
Franklin, from Massillon, Ohio, has completed 2 passes today, and both have gone to Hazelrig. 3:47 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Ohio State 10 and Michigan nothing. 1st and 10 at their own 46-yard line. Green curves, turns, gives to Shuttlesworth, tries the left side, doesn't find too much room. He tries to plant that ball up at the 50-yard line. Referee Gene Calhoun says, okay, that's where his forward progress stopped. Middleton and Gradishar making the stop for Ohio State. Hazelrig comes in, and going out is Keith Johnson, number 27. 2nd down and 6 at the 50-yard line, and Michigan trailing by 10 points. Late in the 3rd quarter. Wide receiver, Hazelrig to the right side. 2 ends are in tight. Denbauer and Seal to give to Shuttlesworth. Puts his head down, the big fella. Got a fine block from Dennis Franks, the center. And also from Dave Metz. Before, he was brought down by Vic Cagle, but he advanced some 7 yards on that play. It is 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line of Ohio State, and Michigan is on the move. Can they sustain the momentum? Johnson wide, left side. Then 2 tight ends. Shuttlesworth, Chapman, the running backs. They give to Shuttlesworth, puts his head down, and he follows the block from Mike Hoban, number 61. Gets across the 40 to about the 36 or 7-yard line. And again, is Vic Cagle, who came in to make this tackle on him.
Vince, what a great lift this would be if Michigan could get on the scoreboard. We would have a great last quarter of this football game.
We would. The clock is running with about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in the 3rd period. 2nd down and 4 for Michigan at the Ohio State 37-yard line. Again, the ends are in tight. Hazelrig wide to the short side of the field. Here's Dennis Franklin turning, giving to Shuttlesworth, reads it back to the inside. He's got the 1st down yardage as he plants the ball almost at the 30-yard line of Ohio State. For cheers, it's approval. Eagle, Kissick, in on the stop for Ohio State. 31-yard line of Ohio State. Michigan with the football. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines. Both of these Titans of the Big Ten, unbeaten coming into this contest this afternoon. Ohio State leading 10-0. Franklin takes the give. Here's a pitch to Chapman. Tries to break between
two Ohio State defenders, and he could not get by defensive end Jim Cope. He got by the cornerback Luke, but Cope, a 228-pounder, held down. That time, they gave a little fake to the left side. Franklin did. Then the play moved to the right. He faked to Shuttlesworth, and he pitched finally to Chapman. Good gain to the 24-yard line.
As fast as that defensive unit of Ohio State gets off of that football, the snap, Michigan wanted them to take that first step to the right, which they did, and then they came back to get the yardage.
The drive started on the Michigan 33. They have 3 first downs in this drive, and the give goes to Shuttlesworth. He puts his head down, rams over the right side. He's inside the 20, and Shuttlesworth has the first down yardage. This big fella is the workhorse in this attack. Ed Shuttlesworth, 6'2", 225 pounds, the number 1 ball carrier, a senior from Cincinnati, leads this Michigan team in touchdowns with 9. And he gets them the hard way. His longest gain from scrimmage this year, only 15 yards. Wide receiver to the left side. Again, 2 tight ends are in there. They give to Shuttlesworth again. He gets a back block this time from Curtis Tucker. Reads it to the inside of Tucker. And Shuttlesworth hurdles his way down to the 15-yard line. Rick Middleton making the stop for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Michigan, 2nd down and 6 at the Ohio State 15-yard line. Time is running out in the 3rd quarter. We have about 12 seconds left to play. Let's see if they get another playoff. Franklin has them up to the line of scrimmage. 6 seconds left to play in the quarter. He turns. He gives to Shuttlesworth through the left side. He tries to go. And while Hoban tries to clear a path for him, along with Jim Good, he is met and stopped by Pete Kusick, who has been an outstanding defensive player up front for Ohio State this afternoon. There's the end of the 3rd quarter. Ohio State leading Michigan 10-0.
This country is facing a heating fuel shortage this winter. It has been forecast that America could be at least 10% short of the oil, gas, and electricity it needs for its homes, farms, businesses, and schools. And Standard Oil suggests that there is something you all can do to ease the situation. Just dial down your thermostats to conserve heating fuel. For example, if you dial down to a daytime setting of not more than 68 degrees, you can conserve a substantial amount of heating fuel over the winter. If you dial down another 3 degrees overnight to a setting of 65 degrees, you can conserve even more. And if you go away for the weekend, dial down to 55 degrees so you don't waste fuel heating an empty house. Standard Oil is asking all its employees to dial down at work and at home. They're asking all businesses and government to dial down too. And they're asking you to do the same. So please dial down. Where you set your thermostats can determine how severe the heating fuel shortage will be. Standard Oil Division, Amoco Oil Company. Well, how wrong can you be? We suggested and kept thinking that Michigan would put the ball in the air. And yet that offensive line has been trusting and bulldozing the defensive unit of Ohio State, and they're doing it on the ground with Shuttleworth. They moved the ball down now to the 12-yard line to open up the last 15 minutes of this football game. If they can get on the board early, we're in for a great last quarter. Ohio State now leading 10-0, but Michigan, with the incentive, with that football, has a drive underway.
Though Ohio State will have finished the regular season without having yielded so much as a single point in either the 1st or 3rd quarters of this season. And this is their 10th game. All season long, coming into this game, they've given up only 33 points. Number 1 defensive team in the conference. One of the leading defensive teams in the nation. And now they find themselves trying to stop this Michigan attack that started on the Michigan 33-yard line. 3rd and 3 at the Ohio State 12. Power I formation. Give to Chapman, and he is hit and stopped for a loss. Great play by the defensive tackle, number 42, Art Jones. He read that one perfectly. He looked like he keyed on him that time. And that will stop that apparent drive. They are going to try for a field goal. Ohio Boudreau got on the board on Blair Conway's 31-yard field goal. Now, Mike Lantry will try his luck. He's a left-footed kicker. The kick will come from the 20. And a little trouble with the snap. Ball is down. It is up. It is good. And credit Larry Gustafson with some very, very quick hands. That was a high snap from center. And somehow he got it planted in time for Mike Lantry to kick his 8th field goal this year in 11 attempts. Ohio State 10, Michigan 3.
You look forward to different things during the holidays in different parts of the country. Maybe it's the picture postcard brightness of country towns wreathed in the clear white of winter. Maybe it's the sun shining down. Warm is the feeling within us all. HFC wants you to enjoy the holidays. So if we can help out, just call Household Finance, an equal opportunity lender.
For a large or small loan, phone or visit Household Finance. 61 offices in the Chicago area. Offices in all major cities in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Here's the kickoff. A low one bounces in the 5, goes into the end zone. There will be no return by Archie Griffin, who was the nearest Buckeye to it. Ohio State will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20.
Well, Vince, Jack Rosenberg brought up a very interesting conversation and note. Supposing Michigan does score with a score 10-3, would they go for 2 or would they go for the 1 to tie this football game up and then represent the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl game? Bo has mentioned that he would go for the 2 points to win it.
I don't believe it. I think he has to go for a tie first. He sends Bartosik split in wide to the left side, brings a man in motion, and the pitch goes to Griffin. Finds a blocking. Hurts off the shoulders of one of his blockers up there. Pete Johnson, the fullback, and he is brought down finally by Dave Brown, the safety man. And Archie Griffin, over the right side, picks up a long 3 yards. It's going to be 2nd and 7.
Is Northwestern holding on at the end of the first half. It's Northwestern 3, Illinois nothing.
Bartosik split wide to the left side, wing back. Bashnagel to the left side. And they bring Bashnagel in motion to the right. Here's the give to Johnson. He reads it back on a counter, and the big throwback is hit at the 25, driven back. But his forward progress was to the 25-yard line, where Steve Strinko met him and said, "How do you do?" Johnson, a 236-pound freshman fullback from Long Beach, New York. 3rd and 4, a big play for Ohio State if they want to keep possession. Bartosik again, split to the left side. He is not going with the 2 tight ends as he does on so many running plays. Wing back left, sends him in motion to the right. Option play. He is buried. Cornelius Green on the option. Ran into Walt Williamson, the 224-pound defensive end, and he threw him down immediately before he had any options left. He didn't give him any options. He buried him at the 26-yard line, and Ohio State, with its aroused Wolverine defense, will have to punt.
And with their number 1 punter out of this ball game, it puts the pressure on Bartosik.
He has punted successfully. He gets a good foot into this one, a fairly short one, however. Dave Brown called for a fair catch. It almost hit. It may have hit Roy Burks. If it did, it's going to belong to Ohio State. Roy Burks couldn't get out of the way. He was a short man on it. Dave Brown had called for a fair catch. He ran away from it, hollered to Burks to get out of the way. Whether or not Burks did, I'm not sure.
No, there's a penalty on the play. And I'm afraid that Michigan's going to be penalized on this particular play.
Gene Calhoun, the referee.
There's Bo on the field wanting to know just exactly what happened.
He's calling Calhoun over. Talk to him.
So while this discussion is going on, and Bo is indicating with gestures as to what happened. But I doubt whether it's going to stand up. They're moving the chains, Vince.
Well, Ohio State's defensive team is still out there. There's Now the walk-off is begun by Calhoun, a 5-yard walk-off to bring it to the Michigan 49-yard line.
So that'll be 1st and 15. It's 1st and 15 now on the 49-yard line.
I think it should be. Well, they do have it 1st and 15 with that chain gang over there. Scoreboard is showing 1st and 10. I'm going to check press box here to find out just exactly what that call was.
The report was that a fair catch was called, but he didn't handle the ball. Does he have to?
Apparently he does. He did call for the fair catch, but he never got to the ball. So it's 1st and 15, and the give on the first running play by Michigan in this series again goes to the fullback, Ed Shuttlesworth, a real workhorse. He gets it into Ohio State territory, sliding off the left side to the 46-yard line, brought down by Cagle. 5-yard pickup by Shuttlesworth, but that makes it 2nd and 10. The scoreboard is still not showing the proper yardage. We are looking at the chain gang. 2nd and 10, the 46. Franklin fakes the give to Chapman, drops back, looks, fires. He's got his man at the 31. Down to the 25, down to the 20. Inside the 20 goes the big tight end, Paul Seal, the number 1 receiver for Michigan, making his first catch of the afternoon at his 4 feet in the air, and that big fellow, 6'6", 218, after making the catch, got about 6 or 7 more yards. It is 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. Michigan now, in this half, 4 passes, 3 completed. They're on the move. With 11:28 left to play, they need a touchdown and a point after to tie it to give the Shuttlesworth. Fullback puts his head down, drives behind the tackle, the block of Hogan, and if Dennis Franks, the center, and he's got that ball to the 14-yard line, brought down there by Randy Gratishar and Vic Cagle for Ohio State. Michigan now showing the power on the ground that Ohio State showed in the second quarter. Wide receiver to the right side, and Hazelrig lines up as a wingback on the right side from the I formation. Seal lines up as a tight end on the left. Dennis Franklin turns, gives to Shuttlesworth, slants to the left, short yardage, runs into 2 or 3 men. He's down to about the 12-yard line, and the going is getting tougher. The umpire right up between the 12 and the 13, and it's 3rd down and 3. Actually, about 2.5. And Michigan needs a touchdown desperately. The clock is running. A little over 10 minutes left to play. Paul Seal, the big tight end, asks the crowd for quiet as he holds up his hands down, takes his 3-point stance. Franklin, the quarterback, turns, gives to Shuttlesworth, puts his head down, drives and drives, keeps those legs turning and pumping. He's inside the 10-yard line, down to the 9, and he is very, very close to a 1st and goal. They begin to unpile. And they're going to ask the chain gang to come out. That time, one of the bottom men was Dave Metz, the right guard, 235-pound junior from Harrison, Ohio, and he just kept his legs pumping and pumping, trying to drive that very rugged Ohio State defense back. Well, what do you know? They missed it by about 2 inches. Can you believe that? By 2 inches.
What a decision has to be made here.
Got to go for it. Dennis Franklin, the junior quarterback from Massillon, Ohio, has been over talking with head coach Bo Schembechler. One of the most excited people right now, Mr. Ward Quall, in the Athletic Board of Control at Michigan. 2 tight ends in there, Seal and Denbar, from a power line. They've had pretty good success with this formation. Franklin gives to Shuttlesworth. He's got it. Oh, he keeps. Franklin, what a touchdown. What a beautiful fake. He faked it into the belly of Shuttlesworth. Sent him to the right side. Franklin took that ball on his hip, rolled around to the outside, and he went in without a hand being laid on him. And he faked me right out of my shoe.
A great fake, Vince. He put that football in the Shuttleworth's stomach and drew in the linebacker, Radishaw, and he drew in the left tackle, Jones, completely, kept the ball, and he could have driven a truck through that hole.
Beautiful.
A great play.
Now the all-important try for the point after. Gustafson will hold. Lamprey comes forward. The boot is up. It is good. And with 9 minutes and 32 seconds remaining to play at Ann Arbor Stadium, this is a brand new football game. Michigan 10, Ohio State 10.
And a lot of football left coming your way. 9:32 left in this period. Well, imagine getting a tie for Christmas. I know that Bo and all the Michigan fans would like to have a tie right now, but a different tie. Tie for Christmas that wouldn't wrinkle or stain come your way from Carroll's. The new Wembley ties at Carroll's do all that and more. Carroll's has Wembley ties in solid stripes and patterns, in regular, bow tie, and ready-made styles. All made of incredible new Wemlon. All with color-coordinated tags on the back. And all for $5. Ask for Wembley ties for Christmas and you'll know that you'll look good. There are 11 Carroll stores, including one at Dixie Square, 2 in Champaign. When you think of Christmas, think of Carroll's. Now, Ohio State has not passed in this ball game up to this point with 9 minutes and 32 seconds left. If this game ends up in a tie, Michigan could be the representative of the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl. But we have a long time left, and let's see how Ohio State can try to come back. Vince, I'm surprised the way the offensive line has been taking charge here for the Wolverines.
They've done an outstanding job. Now, the last 2 defensive series, the Michigan defensive team has been tough. There is a bit of a breeze beginning to blow, and it is behind the Michigan Wolverines. And the deep man is Archie Griffin, waiting the kickoff by Lamprey. Here's the boot. He's got a lot of foot into it. It is carrying into the end zone. Griffin turns, and he downs it into the end zone. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes from their own 20-yard line. Now, once more, the Michigan defense will be put to the test. This is a team which this year has allowed a total now of 68 points, and this is their 11th game. And Ohio State, with a tremendous offense, with 10 points on the board in the first half. All in the third quarter. Now we'll see if they can regain the lead. Wide receiver Bashnagel, 48 to the right side. There was a movement in the backfield to give to Griffin. And he carries across for about 4 or 5 yards. And I don't see a penalty flag. But let me tell you, Bo Schembechler saw that movement by Archie Griffin, the tailback in that formation, and he obviously moved. I had the binoculars on him, and I saw him sway to the right and left before the snap of the football, but there is no penalty.
It looked like an illegal procedure, definitely.
Schembechler and his aides were storming on the sideline, but they're now back. 2nd down and 5 from the 25-yard line. Franklin turns, gives to Griffin, reads to the left side, breaks a tackle, spins and turns at the 30, the 35. Finally brought down by number 33, Kyle Russ, after a brilliant run by Archie Griffin that advances the football all the way out to the 38-yard line of Ohio State. WGN Radio, Chicago, first in sound, first in service, and first in sports. Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau reporting from Ann Arbor Stadium. A crowd of 105,000 and a titanic battle between these two gridiron Goliaths. Bashnagel wide to the right side. 2 tight ends in for Ohio State to give to Griffin. Left side he goes. Skips through one man at the 40-yard line. And it brought down at the 42. Making the stop on him, well, we'll just say the middle of that Michigan line defensively. Griffin, a determined, capable, talented runner. Gets some good blocking. 5'9", about 185. Powerful leg force. 2nd and 6 at the 42. Green turns, gives to Griffin. He's got an opening right side. One man hits him and he brings him down. It was Dave Brown, the safety man, on a very fine tackle. Coming up finally to assist was Tommy Drake. And when you bring Archie Griffin down at a one-on-one situation, you are doing a job, and Griffin is getting up slowly. He is being helped to his feet. He may have twisted an ankle. Bashnagel is signaling to bring in a replacement in Elmer Lippert. A senior is coming in, and Griffin is limping as he goes off the field. In every Ohio State football game this year, this outstanding sophomore comes from Columbus, Ohio, has rushed for more than 100 yards. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. They give to Lippert. He goes to the left side. He is in Michigan territory at the 49, bounces forward for another yard, and Elmer Lippert picks up 2 or 3 grudging yards on that slant to the left side before Don Dufek comes in to make the stop on him. Ohio State now hoping to get down close enough for a field goal or the touchdown. They will run the clock as much as they can, and this is what they do the best. 7 minutes, 10 seconds remaining to play. We're tied at 10. And to give to Griffin, to Lippert again. He is racked up at the line of scrimmage. That Michigan middle just would not yield. Strinkle was there. Gallagher is there. And Elmer Lippert has averaged almost 4 yards a carry this season for Ohio State.
And Vince, Griffin is up. Griffin is up. He had his ankle taken care of. He's standing right next to Woody Hayes, ready to come back into the ball game.
And they want Ohio to call time. Woody Hayes is trying to get the attention of Cornelius Green as he brought him up the line of scrimmage. He finally does. And Ohio State uses its first time out of the 3 that it has coming in this half. With the score, Ohio State 10, Michigan 10. The clock shows 6 minutes and 36 seconds remaining to play in this football game. And Ohio State has it 3rd down and 6 at the Michigan 47-yard line. Lou, we were looking for drama, for excitement, and we have it, and then some here this afternoon.
Yes, indeed. And don't go away. We have 6 minutes and 36 seconds left of this football game. Griffin is not in the lineup. He's talking to Hayes on the sideline, wanting to get back into this football game. Hayes is going to send him in. Griffin is coming back with 3rd down and 6 to go. The folks here, Vince, are standing, and they have been standing for the last 10 minutes of this football game.
Why he wanted timeout to get Griffin back in this key 3rd down situation. Well, 1966, we covered an epic struggle between Michigan State with Duffy Doherty in charge of the Spartans against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and that wound up in a 10-10 tie.
Great. This other Big Ten scores at the end of the half, it's Michigan State 2, Iowa nothing. At the end of the half, it's Indiana 17, Purdue 14. At the end of the half, it's Northwestern 3, Illinois nothing. And right here, it's 10-10. And now Minnesota leads Wisconsin at the end of the first period, 6-0.
They're up the line of scrimmage with 2 tight ends, and Bashnagel, a wide receiver to the left side, to give to Griffin. Who else? One man hits him. That was Gallagher. He broke his tackle momentarily, but he could not break the tackle of Steve Strinkle, the middle linebacker, who put the clincher on him. One Michigan Wolverine, Don Warner, was shaken up on that play, and he is stretched out at about the 46-yard line, and the Michigan attendants coming out to attend to Warner, a senior. Mike Bartosik is coming in for Ohio State, and the Buckeyes, who did not get the necessary 6 yards, they got only 3 of them. Faced with 4th down and 3 at the 44-yard line. And after Don Warner from Dearborn, Michigan, a senior, 5'11", 195, a good middle guard, is taken care of here, and we hope that this is not a serious injury at all.
It looks like it's his left knee.
Yeah, he's struggling to his knees, and now he is being helped off the field, and it is an injury apparently to the left knee of Don Warner.
Well, Michigan will get possession of the football, good kid, with 6:24 left of this ball game.
What a battle. What a tremendous battle. Ohio State at halftime led 10-0, and there were some folks, I think, who thought these guys might turn it into a rout. They dominated the third action. Now Bartosik, the number 2 punter, gets a high kick, and Dave Brown signals for a fair catch. This time he makes the catch at the 11-yard line. And Michigan, which started the run drive from its 33-yard line, now all the way back to the 11. That was a 45-yard kick by Bartosik, a beauty. No return. 6 minutes, 5 seconds remain in this football game. If it winds up a tie, the representative of the Big Ten will be chosen by the athletic directors in parlays this weekend, and that decision will be announced on Monday in Chicago. Ed Shuttlesworth carries on a slant to the right side, and the big fullback is stopped at the 14-yard line. Vic Teagle, linebacker, bottom man of that play for the Buckeyes, along with Rick Middleton. Coming off the bench is Keith Johnson for Michigan, number 27. Joins the huddle, gives the play to quarterback Dennis Franklin, who has led them all day long. And they're bringing out Greg Denbauer, a big tight end, going with one tight end. High formation, wide receiver to the left side. Franklin wants the pass. Looks to the right. A man is open. Hazelrig has it. Did he hold on to it? He did. He turned, went to his knees at the 28-yard line with no defender around him. His back was to us, and I wasn't sure for a moment that he had held on to the football, but he did it. First and 10.
If Michigan flooded the west side of the field towards us, flooded it with about 4 receivers, and that left the man open on the right side, and Franklin hit his man, and he made a great catch.
It's at least the third catch by Hazelrig today. They've got a little breathing room at the 28-yard line. Franklin gives it to Shuttlesworth, takes it away, pitches to Chapman. He is hit on a great defensive play by Ohio State safety Tim Cox, who came up with an ankle tackle, and he brought Chapman down for a big loss at the 22-yard line, a 6-yard loss. It'll be second down at least 16. It was on that kind of a play that Dennis Franklin tucked the ball into the midsection of Shuttlesworth, the fullback, took it back out, put it on his hip, rolled around right end for a touchdown. Second down and a long ways to go. He's going to go to the air. Steps back to the 15, has room, fires it. Hazelrig at the 37. He is brought down after running laterally by Rich Parsons, a safety man, and I'm sorry. Is it Hazelrig or Heater?
It was Hazelrig.
Hazelrig. It is Hazelrig. That's his fourth reception, I believe, today. He did not get the first down, but it is third down and 2. Now the big play for Michigan. The clock shows 3 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. Gustafson, wide receiver to the right side, a power I formation. We look for Shuttlesworth to get it, but it's Chapman. He's got it, and he's got the first down on a slant over right tackle. Chapman, with Shuttlesworth leading the way, goes behind his block, and that of Paul Seal, the big tight end. And Michigan has it first and 10 at their own 40-yard line, just inches away from it. This is a most determined Michigan football team, both defensively and offensively, and they have come out in the second half, and they have taken control of this game from Ohio, but they are now trying to battle to take the lead. It is tied 10-all. Franklin turns, gives to Shuttlesworth, the number 1 man in the eye. Shuttlesworth cracks over right guard and tackle. Picks up about 4 tough yards. Leading the way, Dave Bentz. He was brought down by Arnie Jones. The ball at the 44-yard line of Michigan. Wolverines, second down and 5. What a comeback this team has made, and I say that regardless of the final score this afternoon. When you trail the number 1 ranked college team in the nation at halftime by 10 points and come back to tie it, and now battle to win it, you have done an outstanding job, and that's what Michigan has done today. Franklin drops back. He's got pressure on. He fires a pass. It is complete to Shuttlesworth at the 49-yard line of Ohio State. And in the air, Michigan is having success. But Dennis Franklin, who uncorked that pass to Shuttlesworth, was hit exceptionally hard. And he has been dazed. He is flat on the field on the far side. It was Decree, the end, who put tremendous pressure on Franklin. He hit him a joke just as he fired the pass to Shuttlesworth.
As you talk about determination, he had it to complete that pass, Vince. He did not see Decree come in on that blitz. He had one thing in mind, to pick up his receiver. He under pressure. A great play by Franklin, but he took a terrific hit on that particular play. And now, of course, the trainer and doctor on the field giving him some first aid. I doubt whether he'll be able to continue right at this particular time. And we see a new quarterback, warming up on the sideline.
Probably Larry Zipper. Let me tell you, Lou, this kid, Dennis Franklin, in the first half, threw only 3 passes, completed 1. In this half, he has thrown the ball 7 times, and he has completed 6 of those 7 passes in this half. If they lose him, it is a tremendous loss. But he has had just an outstanding second half. He's on his feet. And he took a real shot that time. It was a legal one from Decree with a hard-hitting defensive end. Doctors have gone out there, and Bo Schemmechler is meeting the doctor as he comes off. He indicated there was soreness up around the right collarbone. Franklin is coming out of the football game. He is walking, and they're holding that right arm and right shoulder, Lou, and apparently he got the brunt of the blow.
It might be a dislocation or a separation of the right shoulder, Vince. As he was hit, he fell to this tartan turf, or artificial turf, and hurt his right shoulder.
So directing them now is number 13, Larry Sippa, CIPA, a senior, 6'4", 210. Good passer, but not the runner that Franklin is. Sippa turns. He gives to Shuttlesworth, and Shuttlesworth cracks over right guard and tackle behind the block of Curtis Tucker. And he is inside the 45-yard line of Ohio State. Now, time, of course, is a key factor. We are tied 10-10. The clock is running with 1 minute and 45 seconds now as it continues to move. Michigan still with 2 timeouts left. They want to get within field goal range.
Zippo has to be careful of a fumble. New quarterback, the center, in pushing that ball back to him. He has to be very careful.
Great pressure will be put on him. He turns to the right. He wheels. He gives to Shuttlesworth. Shuttlesworth finds very little running room over the middle. Spins and gets his way to about the 43-yard line, one of the shortest gains he's had all year. This is a kid who, in all of the rushing that he has done all season long, he has only twice been thrown for a loss, and one of them here this afternoon. Now, timeout is taken by Michigan. And we see Denmore coming over along with Sippa, the quarterback, to talk to Schemmechler. 1 minute and 12 left to play. We are tied 10-10.
You know, Vince, as Jack has mentioned, the Rosenberg National Championship could be lost by both of these fine football teams in the ratings, as Alabama, swamping with their victory, LSU could actually move into the number 1 position. This football game has 1 minute and 12 seconds left. And Michigan, of course, driving, trying to get close enough for a field goal, if not the touchdown.
That timeout was in error, was taken by Ohio State. The Buckeyes have only 1 timeout left. Michigan has 2. The clock stopped at 1 minute and 12 seconds, and the senior from Cincinnati, Larry Sippa, brings his Wolverines up to the line of scrimmage, sends Keith Johnson wide to the left side as Hazelrig on the right side. He turns, he gives it to Chapman on a slant to the left side, and he can go nowhere. Jim Cuddy tried to come back on a crackback block. Hoban tried to clear a pass, but they could not get Randy Gradishar out of there. Now, timeout is taken by Michigan, and each team now has 1 timeout remaining. That play took exactly 6 seconds. The ball is put down at the 41-yard line of Ohio State. It is 4th down and 2.
What a decision. Do you want to turn over the football to Ohio State deep in their territory and depend on your defense? Or do you want to gamble here on Ohio State's 41-yard line with a play in trying to get first down? It's 4th down, 2 yards to go.
Michigan wants to go for it. Backfield came over, talked to Bo Schembechler. They want to go for it. Now Sippa is still here talking to him. And Bo says, no, we're going to punt it. Barry Dotzauer. Gordon Bell is out there. Oh, they're going to try a field goal. Gustafson will hold. And Mike Lantry, who kicked one field goal of 51 yards this year, now is going to try one from the 47 or 48-yard line. It'll be a 58-yard attempt. Here's the boot. It is a low one. It may have a chance, but it is no good. It missed just to the left side. And not by far. Mike Lantry, who has one field goal today, came very, very near booting one from 58 yards out. And with 1 minute and 1 second showing on the clock, Ohio State will take possession. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes from their own 20-yard line. Now let's see if they will open up, as did Michigan. They have not thrown a pass in this half. Not a one. They have not thrown a pass in this football game. Here's the first one. Greg Hare is quarterbacking. Fires back, flips one upfield, intercepted by Michigan. Tom Drake intercepted, I believe, at the 39, and he has returned it to the 33-yard line. And Woody Hayes, who says, I hate to see a ball put in the air by my team. 3 things can happen. 2 of them are bad. He has just had one of those 2 happen as Tom Drake, the junior from Midland, Michigan, leaped in front of the intended receiver, and Michigan, with 52 seconds showing on the clock, has 1 timeout remaining. They have it 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line of Ohio State, and the Wolverines with Bo Schembechler jumping up and down on the sideline. He had Tim Holley, he had his wide receiver, Keith Johnson, upset, and now Michigan is going to have to call timeout. Now, let me tell you something.
Oh, Bo is upset with that timeout.
He sure is. He did not want to use that. He was trying to get Johnson, I believe. Now, he's down to the sidelines below us. I believe he was trying to get Johnson in there to tell Larry Sippa what he wanted him to do. They did have 1 timeout left. He, of course, wanted to try to advance that ball a little bit farther to try to give Mike Lantry a better opportunity at what could be a game-winning field goal, but apparently they got their signals mixed up, and they have had to call a timeout, the last one they've got coming to them. But Tom Drake, Lou, could be the big hero here if Michigan can come up with at least 3 points and win it.
Or Landry, because right now they're within his distance. They're at the 33-yard line of Ohio State. They have 52 seconds left to advance this football closer to the score. And now, Bo Schembechler, in his excitement, has called over Sippa. Now he's going back in with the play that Bo has called.
That is really something. The only pass that they have thrown today, and it is intercepted. And for the year, it's the 10th interception that Ohio State has had in 67 passing attempts, and it could cost them the Rose Bowl and the Big Ten Championship and the #1 national ranking. The ball is given to Chapman, and Chapman hurdles like a thunderbolt through the left side. He's inside the 30-yard line. Gil Chapman is brought down by Randy Gradishar. The clock is running. 35 seconds left. They line up quickly. A wide receiver to the left side. They may throw one to kill the clock. He looks to the right. He fires. It was intended for Keith Johnson, the wide receiver, who slipped and fell. The ball went out of bounds, and that will stop the clock with 28 seconds left to play. Michigan 3rd and 5 at the 28-yard line. Mike Lantry may be coming in right now because they don't have a timeout left.
Vince, that was the 2 plays that Bo called during the timeout. A running play, and then throw the ball out of bounds to stop the clock. Here's the ball game wrapped up in 1 snap, 1 kick.
Gustafson will hold. Lantry will try this one from the 34-yard line. That means a 44-yard attempt. Here's a snap. It's perfect. Here's a kick. Is it good? No. It is off to the right side. Mike Lantry had the distance, but he was off to his right side, and this ball game remains tied 10-10 with 24 seconds showing on the clock before an absolute crazed crowd of 105,000 here at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. Is it good? No. It is off to the right side. Mike Lantry had the distance, but he was off to his right side, and this ball game remains tied 10-10 with 24 seconds showing on the clock before an absolute crazed crowd of 105,000 here at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. And Ohio State, with 24 seconds left, will have it first and 10 at their own 20-yard line. The first half belonged to the Buckeyes, particularly the second quarter. The second half has belonged to Michigan, but they have not been able to take the lead. They came from a 10-point deficit to tie it. What a battle it has been. Hare, the quarterback, drops back. He wants to pass. Gallagher pressures him. He gets a long pass upfield. It is bouncing in the air, flipped again and again, and who finally comes down with it as they hit it like a volleyball? It is ruled incomplete at the 40-yard line as Greg Hare, a senior from Cumberland, Maryland, who has hit about 42% of his passes, threw one into a crowd, batted around by Russ and by Dave Elliott for Michigan. It is ruled incomplete, and there are 13 seconds left to play.
He threw that football some 45 yards, Vince. Hayes trying to go in to get in his scoring territory for his field goal kicker, or trying to take advantage of a lapse by the Michigan's secondary.
A time of frustration and a time of anguish for the players, coaches, and their rooters. 13 seconds left in the clock. Send the tight end Puggage off the field. Wide receivers in. Hare wants to pass. He fires a long one way down the field. Who is going to get it? It is almost intercepted by Barry Dotsauer. He leaped in front of the intended receiver, Morris Bradshaw, from Edwardsville, Illinois. And he almost had an interception, but it goes as an incomplete forward pass, and Mr. Hare shows that he can fire a long piece. 6 seconds left in the clock. 3rd and 10 at the 20-yard line for Ohio State.
What a battle of two great coached and disciplined football teams. We have 6 seconds left. Ohio State with the football on their own 20-yard line, 3rd down, 10.
Puggage wide to the left side. 2 wide receivers to the right. Hare drops back. This time he's got time. He looks, he fires, intending for Puggage, but he threw it way out of bounds. The clock shows no time remaining in this football game, and the crowd is swarming onto the field. The Buckeyes are the first to get into that tunnel to head to their dressing quarters across the way. And this tremendous battle here today has wound up with neither team being able to come up with a victory. But what a struggle it has been. And it's now up to the athletic directors of the Big Ten Conference to meet this weekend, or at least to be polled by telephone by the commissioner, Wayne Duke, their vote as to who will represent the Big Ten Conference in the Rose Bowl on Pasadena New Year's Day. Don't get excited, Vince. Will be announced in Chicago, we are told, on Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And I would have a hunch, Lou, that they will probably have to give the nod to Michigan.
Well, it's a tough vote, Vince. Regardless of who the athletic directors send, the other teams certainly can, I hope, hold their head up high with no criticism. It's a tough vote, but yet this has to be done. It was a great football game, a hard-nosed football game, and let me tell you, it was just, as you mentioned, the first half all Ohio State, the second half all Michigan.